Welcome back. I'm Di, and today I am bringing you my February wrap-up. In February, I read 8 books, so let's get into it. First off, I started the month off with a buddy read with Lee at Totally.net. We are starting to get into the Chronicles of Narnia, and we decided to read it in chronological order. So we started with The Magician's Nephew. This is by C.S. Lewis, of course. This is like the creation story of Narnia and how Narnia came to be. This book was just okay for me. I was kind of bored a little bit, but once we got introduced to Aslan, it got a little more interesting and the pace picked up a bit. I do have to say that if we had decided to read it in publication order, I probably would have been super confused. So I'm really glad that we decided to read this in chronological order instead. I ended up giving this book 3 stars. Lee and I will continue our read along of the Chronicles of Narnia in March with The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Then I participated in the Rainbowthon 2.0, which was a readathon that lasted from the 7th through the 14th. And in this readathon, you were to read books with spines that had the color of the rainbow. I had decided on the 7 series by Scott Wolins. I ended up reading 4 of the books in the series. The books that I read were Shattered, Book 1, Exposed, Book 2, Pushed, Book 3, and Meltdown, Book 4. As you can see, I got through pink, orange, yellow, and green. This was kind of a neon rainbow for me. This series is a contemporary YA series. This series follows 7 high school students. Each one of them is featured in a book. So, for example, in this first book, Shattered, it is a majority about Mina, who is the girl that you see on the cover. You do get a little bit of the other 6 people's stories along with Mina's, but the book is primarily focused on Mina. Each of these kids are dealing with some kind of issue. So far, I've come across rape, physical disability, mental disability, and the pressure to succeed. Truthfully, though these were really quick reads for me, I am not enjoying the series too much. For me, it's just okay. I'm liking some stories more than others. I ended up giving books 1 and 3 2.5 stars, and books 2 and 4 3 stars. I just think that contemporary novels are not for me, at least not right now. I am going to finish the last 3 novels in this series because I do own them, and I'm still curious to find out what the connection is between these students in their youth. The next book I read was Timeline by Michael Crichton. This is a sci-fi time travel adventure type novel. This story follows a company named ICT who has found a way to time travel, and a group of archaeologists who happen to stumble across something that they shouldn't have. This leads their professor to question ICT on what they are actually doing, and in the process, he finds out about their time travel capabilities, and on an expedition into the past, he gets trapped there. Now it's up to the rest of his students to travel back into time and try to retrieve him before time runs out and they get stuck in the past. I had mentioned before that I had previously seen the movie that stars Gerard Butler and Paul Walker, and I really enjoy it. I've seen it about 4 times. So I had high hopes for this book, but unfortunately this book was not as good as the movie for me. This book starts out with a lot of scientific jargon, and so much so that had I not known what to expect of the story, I probably would have put it down. but I pushed through it because I wanted to see how similar the book was to the movie. There are similarities, but it turns out there are more differences than similarities, and I thought that the movie was done very well. It kept better pace with the story than the book did, and the differences that were made helped me to connect with the characters in the movie better than the book. In this book, I felt very disconnected from the characters and the story. Unfortunately, this book just did not live up to my expectations. I did end up giving it 3 stars, but I think I'll be sticking with the movie in the future. The next book I read was Hidden Wings, which is the first volume in the Hidden Wings series by Camille Renee. I was introduced to this series by Benjamin of Tomes when he was doing his Read with Ben book club on Instagram last year. I just didn't get around to reading it at the time, but I did end up picking it up this month. This story follows Emma after her life is turned upside down and her parents are killed in a horrific car crash, which she has miraculously survived. She gets whisked away to Alaska to live with an aunt she had no idea even existed. Turns out she is special. Not only special, she is the child of prophecy, and now she has demons and fallen angels out to get her before she turns 18 and comes into her full powers. I really enjoyed this book. After having books that were just okay for me in the month, this was such a breath of fresh air. Yes, it was an easy read. Yes, it was pretty predictable, and I did figure out some things way early in the story, but it was a totally enjoyable read, and I ended up giving this one 4 stars. The last book I read this month was Shadowlands by Meg Cabot. This actually says Jenny Carroll, which is one of her pen names. This is the first book in the Mediator series. This book follows Suze as she adjusts to her new life in San Francisco. Her mom has just remarried, and adjusting to this new life is a little bit of a struggle for her, especially with the fact that there is a ghost that lives in her room. Suze is a mediator, and she is able to not only talk to and see ghosts, but she can also touch them. If one ghost wasn't enough, Suze goes to her new school and finds another ghost, the ghost of a girl named Hannah who just committed suicide over the Christmas break. Hannah is not too happy with her current situation, and she is wreaking havoc on a couple of people in the school. So now it is up to Suze to help Hannah cross over before she causes harm to anybody in the school. Again, this was another great read for me. I have only read a couple Meg Cabot books in the past, and I don't know why I haven't read any more because her writing style is just so easy to get into. This story was very interesting. It reminded me of a story that I had read last year called Ghouls Rush In by H.P. Mallory. I really enjoyed Suze's sass, and the story was very entertaining. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. And those were all of the books that I read in February. Have you read any of these books? What was your most favorite book in February? Let me know down in the comments below. I hope you're all doing great, and until next time, take care and smile always. Bye.